Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bilingual channel. I'm David, and here with me is my co-host, Emily.
Hi, David, and hello to all our viewers. We're excited about today's episode because we're diving into a fascinating topic, history. It's so important and helps us understand where we come from.
Yes, absolutely. Today, we'll explore some interesting parts of history and introduce a few essential vocabulary words to help our viewers expand their English knowledge.
That's right. History is full of unique events, people, and places, so let's get started. David, what period of history interests you the most?
Oh, that's tough, but I'd have to say the Renaissance. The explosion of art, science, and culture during that time is so inspiring. What about you?
I love learning about ancient Egypt. The civilization, the pyramids, and the mysteries around them are just incredible. And actually, that brings us to our first word for today, civilization.
Great choice. Civilization refers to a complex society with developed cities, government, and culture. For example, ancient Egypt was one of the earliest civilizations.
Exactly. Civilizations are essential to studying history because they represent the organization and culture of people during different eras.
Speaking of ancient times, another word we often hear in history is dynasty. A dynasty is a series of rulers from the same family, like the Chinese dynasties.
Yes, like the Ming Dynasty or the Qing Dynasty. Dynasties usually last for generations, shaping the culture and policies of a nation. For instance, the Ming Dynasty greatly influenced Chinese art and culture.
Dynasties were such a huge part of history, especially in regions like Asia and the Middle East. They show us how power and culture passed down through families.
Absolutely. Another interesting term in history is artifact. An artifact is a physical object from the past, like pottery or tools, that gives us clues about how people lived.
Great word. Artifacts are like windows into the past. For example, the museum has artifacts from ancient civilizations that tell us about their daily lives.
Exactly, David. Artifacts help historians piece together what life was like thousands of years ago.
So true. Now, let's talk about revolution. In history, a revolution is a sudden, significant change, usually in politics or society, like the French Revolution.
Yes, and revolutions can shape the future of entire countries. For example, the Industrial Revolution changed how people worked and lived around the world.
Revolutions often bring about change, and they're fascinating to study because of their impact on society and culture.
Definitely. And our final word for today is empire. An empire is a group of states or territories controlled by one ruler or government, like the Roman Empire.
Good one. Empires played huge roles in history, often spreading culture, language, and technology. For instance, the British Empire once spanned continents.
Empires have really shaped the world we live in today. They show how powerful civilizations could grow and influence far-reaching territories.
Absolutely. Now that we've covered civilization, dynasty, artifact, revolution, and empire, let's keep exploring some of these topics.
Sure. Let's start with empires. Did you know that the Roman Empire, at its peak, controlled a huge part of Europe, North Africa, and Asia?
Yes, it's incredible to think of how they maintained control over such a large area. Their engineering, roads, and military helped them manage everything.
Their influence was so strong that we still see traces of it today, in architecture, law, and even language.
Absolutely. Latin, the language of the Romans, is the basis for many European languages like Italian, Spanish, and French.
And the Roman legal system inspired many modern legal codes. They were true innovators.
It's amazing how much empires contribute to global culture and society. Speaking of which, let's discuss the Industrial Revolution.
The Industrial Revolution was such a transformative period. It introduced machinery to manufacturing, changed cities, and affected everyone's way of life.
Yes, factories, steam engines, and inventions like the spinning jenny revolutionized production. It made goods cheaper and more accessible.
It also shifted people from rural areas to cities for work. Urbanization became a major trend during that time.
And with urbanization, there were new challenges: housing, sanitation, and workers' rights, for example.
That's right. Many social reforms came out of the Industrial Revolution as people worked to improve working conditions.
Let's move to the idea of revolution itself. Not all revolutions were about industry. Some were political, like the American and French revolutions.
Yes, those revolutions marked shifts in power and introduced ideas of democracy and equality.
The French Revolution especially challenged the monarchy and sparked movements across Europe.
And the American Revolution led to the creation of the United States. It showed how colonies could gain independence from empires.
Both revolutions had huge impacts on the ideas of governance and individual rights.
It's so fascinating. History is full of these transformative moments that have shaped the modern world.
Absolutely, and through studying history, we can learn from the successes and mistakes of the past.
Yes, and understand how interconnected our societies are. History really does help us make sense of our present.
That's a great point, Emily. I think we've covered a lot of interesting points about history today.
Yes. And to our viewers, we hope this episode helped you learn some new vocabulary and understand history a bit better.
Remember the words we covered: civilization, dynasty, artifact, revolution, and empire. Knowing these can make learning history even more enjoyable.
Thanks for joining us today on the Bilingual channel. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know what historical topics interest you most. Take care.